Okay, so we live and we recording. All right, guys. So just to cover some bases really quick. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but whatever. Just to cover some things really quick. You know, we launched the US30 signals chat. I am the person that sends out the signals. I want to take a moment to really thank Torian, you know, for pushing me outside of my comfort zone. For those of y'all who do not know me, I'm one of the leaders here in Millionaire Millennials. I started out trading Bitcoin as my one pair. And then I was looking for a pair that I could send out to the entire team. And I stumbled across, you know, US30. Sending out signals was something I definitely was always a little bit nervous about, because every trade I ever hopped into, I was okay with it hitting stop loss. And, you know, I didn't want to send out an L to anybody else. So I was always like trading and profitable on my own. But I never really like took the initiative to like develop a signals chat and help the team eat. And it's not because I didn't want you guys to eat with me. It was just more because, you know, I didn't want to cause anyone else to blow up their account. So I definitely want to thank Torian for kind of pressing me out and, you know, pushing me out of my comfort zone and, you know, pushing me to now where I have a signals chat and I'm helping you guys eat. She's definitely been a great help, you know, with watching the charts as well. So the point of this today, if you're a little bit newer, these topics are a little bit advanced, but definitely feel free to, you know, stay on the call and just see what you can pick up from what I'm talking about. But, you know, if it feels like it's flying over your head, that's definitely expected and normal. So don't feel as though, you know, dang, this isn't for me, I need to quit. So yeah, this is an isolated chat. Like I said, it's for a little bit more, maybe if you've been trading for about, you know, 2 weeks to a month, you know, and you kind of have some of the basics down, then you can hop in this chat. So I'm all about duplicating leaders or, you know, sharing the wealth. So I want to tell you guys how I trade and what I see from the setups. And hopefully, you know, the result of it will be you guys start calling your own trades, or at least, you know, you fill in and do what Torian does. Now that Torian knows what I'm looking for in pairs, she'll kind of text me when it's doing a setup and she'll be like, hey, like, look at this. So she's actually like, you know, helping me eat. And yes, this is being recorded at the moment. So there's 3 main topics to how I really trade. There's zones or support and resistance, which is what Raquel teaches. She'll be doing a session on it on Wednesday. So I'll kind of glance over it, but I'm not going to really go too in depth. There's Bollinger Bands, which I'll talk about what those look like, and I'll show you guys on TradingView. And then there's the Ichimoku cloud, and I can give you guys all the parameters for that and everything. So let's just hop right in. I'm gonna share my screen. You know, as always, if you're somewhere quiet, feel free to come off mute and interrupt me. This is a highly interactive session. I hate feeling like I'm talking to myself. If you're somewhere where it's loud and you can't come off mute, feel free to utilize the chat window to drop questions. I can see that as well. All right, so can somebody confirm that y'all can see my screen?
You can see.
All right. First of all, before we even get started, yo, like, who's excited to run it up on the markets, bro? Like, come off mute.
Let's go.
Fucking go.
Already know that.
Use my French if we got somebody on the phone that doesn't curse, but I'm excited. All right, bet. Let's tap in. So the first thing I want to start with is called the Ichimoku cloud. You need the spelling on that, to be honest. Up here in the left, ICHIMOKU. I can also drop it in the chat and tell you guys how to add it on MetaTrader 4. So don't worry about, you know, retaining that information. Oh, bet. Racky. This is why I love you. You're the goat. Baby goat in training. All right. But yeah, and I can talk about how to add that on MetaTrader 4. But what the Ichimoku cloud is really, if you guys see in the background of this chart, you know, it's like this red blob, then it's like a green blob, right? Y'all see that? We following that. Yes. Yes, we see the cloud?
Yeah,
Nope.
yeah, we see it, sorry.
All right, cool. No, y'all good. So listen, what trends do is they kind of follow the cloud. You know, there's a lot of parameters behind what this cloud is made up of. And to be honest, I learned it so long ago that I don't even know and I don't really care. So that's a little bit of homework for you guys. But I believe it is like, it's an average of the past 14 candles that creates the cloud. I can find some more instructions on that, but it's not too important for why we're here. What the cloud is telling you is that when creating red clouds, it's gonna continue to follow the sell trend. So as you can see right now, US30 is following the sell trend. Red clouds are being created, right? And the exact opposite with the green clouds. Whenever the candles are above the cloud, like so, it's following a buy trend. So that's step number one. Above the cloud, buy trend. Below the cloud, sell trend. There you go. Racky's dropping knowledge. Pay attention to me and pay attention to the chat, guys. So I know what you guys are thinking. Okay, that's telling me where the chart is going, right? Okay, I know I'm looking for buys when it's above it, and I know I'm looking for sell trends when it's below it. So the tricky part, or where you really want to look for entry, is when the candles start to cross through the clouds, right? So right here in this instance, we see it's above the clouds, and we see green clouds, buy trend, right? Candles are getting close to the cloud. Now there's two important parts to this. The first part is that the top of this cloud and the bottom of the cloud is an area of resistance. If you guys don't know what support and resistance is, I'll get to that in a second. But just note for right now that these are critical areas. So you want to watch what price is doing as it's getting close to this, these areas of the cloud, right? So for this instance in this candle, it breaks through the top of the cloud, right? So I'm looking for like, okay, is it going from a buy trend to a sell trend? That's my first thought. It breaks through the first top of the cloud. I'm going to see if it breaks through the bottom of the cloud, which it does. It comes out of the cloud, it shoots back up. So from there, I'm like, okay, it broke out of the buy trend into the sell trend. I'm trying to look for my sell entry. I'm not automatically saying, oh, it broke out of the cloud, I'm hopping in for the sell. That is not how we're using this. We're using it as one of the three methods we have for confirmations. So as you can see, you know, it goes back into the cloud, but it starts hitting these areas, these same areas here. So let's go ahead and drop a line. And we can call those areas support or resistance. How many people on this call do not know what support and resistance is? Let's start with that. If you don't know what support and resistance is, either come off mute and say I or drop a 1 in the chat. Yo, this is bugging. All right, everybody knows what support and resistance is. Doubt it. So I'm just going to give a brief overview of what it is. Support and resistance or zones are support and resistance or zones are areas in the market where it constantly hits that and changes direction. So as you can see, it's coming up here and pushing. It's hitting this line and going back into a sell. It hits it again and goes into a sell. It hits it again and goes into a sell. That's my second confirmation that a sell trend is about to happen. The first confirmation, let's go over it again. It broke out of both areas of the cloud, and then now it's pushing back up into a buy, but it's hitting this area of resistance and going into the sell. So at this point, I'm just like entry. I just need entry, right? Which loops me into my next kind of indicator that I use as well. So I'm gonna drop off the cloud really quick and I'm gonna pull up another one. Does everyone kind of at a high level understand what the cloud is telling you and how you can use it?
I don't really understand the cloud.
Okay, what about it isn't really making sense? I can't.
I know like for other pairs, I was told when using the Ichimoku cloud, like don't really trade while it's in the cloud. And I kind of missed the beginning part that you said, so maybe you already explained it, but should we wait until they get out of the cloud?
Yes, that's 100% correct. You definitely do not trade while it's in the cloud. You want to trade once it breaks out of it. So up here, you're just watching it. You're just like, okay, that's why I'm saying there's three components to it. It's the cloud, the support and resistance lines that you have drawn up in the Bollinger Bands. But yeah, you basically would wait until it breaks out of the bottom band of the cloud to hop in. Yes, Racky with the follow-up. Usually when it's in the cloud, it's in consolidation or, indecision, if you will. So I'm going to drop this indicator really quick, and I'm going to toss Bollinger Bands on there. That's not it, Chief. Okay, So we got Bollinger Bands on the scene now. So we're dropping the cloud for a minute. We're going to put a pin on the cloud. We got Bollinger Bands. You see the top line, the middle line, and the bottom line of the band, right? Those are like 3 key areas. To be honest, once again, I can send you all the information on the metrics. I know the top band is some average, some statistical average of the candles that is creating. It's really irrelevant to how you trade, to me personally. I mean, it's good to know what it's made up of, but to be honest, I learned it so long ago, I really don't even care. I just know what I need to know from it. So basically, whenever price goes outside of these bands, you can see it shoots to stay inside of it, right? So here, price goes outside the band, it shoots into a sell. Price goes outside the bottom band, it shoots into a buy. So I'm not saying every time price shoots outside of the band, we're hopping in for the opposite. That's not what I'm saying. But it's just like the cloud. It's one of the things that you take note of, and then you start formulating, where am I going to enter? So like right here, price went outside of the band, right? Normally what we make TP is the middle band. So I normally look for either a zone that's near there, and look at how this lines up perfectly, right? So right here, price goes outside of the band, comes up and hits this line of support, or this line of resistance that we had already marked when we were talking about the cloud. So you see how this aligns with the middle band? It's like it's all overlapping, the cloud, Bollinger Bands, and support and resistance. So that's like the third aspect. I have both of these on my screen while I'm trading. The next aspect is really setting up those support and resistance lines. So does Bollinger Bands make sense? It's a fairly easy topic. Anytime you see the price go outside the band, you can typically expect it to go back in the band and at least touch the middle line at the least, if it doesn't go from band to band. Everybody got that one? That one's a little bit easier to build on.
That shit's incredible.
So with the bands, we just leave it on the default, whatever that is?
Yeah, the default on it is cool. I didn't make any edits. Okay, somebody said running back again. Okay. So what these bands are is just 3 lines, right? They're called Bollinger Bands. You got the top band, the middle band, and the bottom band. If you follow this band, and this is specific, this is for any pair. This is not US30 specific. This is just what I'm using to trade. So we see up here, it goes out of the band. Normally, once it goes out of the band, we know that it's going to come back into the band to follow it. So we set the middle band, this middle line right here, as our TP. So it went out of the band. We set TP in the middle. Boom! It comes back and hits it. It goes out of the band again. It comes back in and hits the middle band. It goes out of the band again up here. It comes back in and hits the middle band. This time it goes all the way to the bottom band. Goes out of the bottom band. Boom! Comes back again and hits the middle band. I want to say it again. What I'm saying is, not every time you see it go out of the band, you're not hopping in for the opposite trade. That's how you will blow your account out. But when you see it go out of the band, then that's when you start looking at backup things like, okay, what's my next support and resistance line near there? Or what's my, what is it doing in the cloud right now? And the more that I see those 3 line up, I send out a trade. And I had a small group of demo people on my demo chat. We were in the trade. I really think out of the whole month, we only took like 1 or 2 L's. Everything else was profitable. So like, how I'm trading with these confirmations is basically, if you guys can duplicate it, I feel like you guys will be profitable. So that's kind of like step 2. I kind of said that in reverse order. I typically look at the bands first, then I'm looking at zones, and then I'm looking at the Ichimoku cloud as like last. I really don't use the cloud like that. It might just be kind of like something on the back end. So does everyone kind of understand the Bollinger Bands? I know we're running through these topics kind of fast, but I feel like the Bollinger Bands is fairly simple.
Yeah, this don't make sense, but would you say like it's an exact like order of importance or how you doing it? The Bollinger Bands, the Zen zones, and the Ichimoku cloud?
That's personally how I trade. I'm not can you use this method? Yes. So wait. So personally, for how I trade, the first thing I'm looking at is price near any of my zones that I have marked up. Then the second thing I'm looking at is Bollinger Bands. And then the third is really Ichimoku cloud. There's not really an order of what's correct. Like trading is all going to be about how you see the market and how it makes sense to you. So, you know, the way I trade US30 is probably nothing like how Gold Rush trades US30, but we're both still able to be profitable. So I'm just dropping the gems of like what I see in the order that I approach it. But, you know, if you find that it's more beneficial to not even use the cloud and just use Bollinger Bands and support and resistance, then, you know, do that. Like, you got to find kind of what works for you. So it's no like set in stone order that you have to use it like how I just mentioned.
Bet. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And yes, you can use this method with any pair. If you put Bollinger Bands on any pair, you'll see that typically every time it goes outside of the band, it'll come back in and at the minimum at least touch the middle band. The great thing about US30, I guess the great/bad thing about US30 is that, you know, these little movements here on a regular currency pair, like this little movement right here would probably be like, I don't know, depending on your lot size, probably like $10. This movement on US30 is going to be like $100 to $200 because of the way the pips are calculated. And I really don't want to get too in depth with it. This is kind of like the first intro to it. But y'all ask as many questions as y'all need. I know we have different skill levels on this call. So if you're new, I can talk to you later about all of this. My more seasoned guys, is the Bollinger Bands kind of making sense how it works?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna take the bands off real quick so we can talk about zones and support and resistance. This is kind of like Raquel's go-to speech. She really introduced zones to me, honestly. I knew about support and resistance. Support and resistance is Tevin's go-to. He's definitely the guy for that. So I think a good follow-up will be to have Tevin do a support and resistance call this week and have Raquel do a zones call. And then I'll send out some guidance on the Bollinger Bands and Ichimoku Cloud. Because personally, I feel like I'm not a good instructor. I just feel like I know what I'm doing and I just go in and do it. But anyways, so we're not even talking about Bollinger Bands, my bad. Zones or support and resistance are areas in the market where, first of all, whoever caught that sell is a millionaire, as a side note. But there are areas in the market where it constantly comes and touches that area and then goes into the opposite direction. So if you can see, like, no, somebody's a billionaire off that at a 1.0 lot size. But anyways, I'm gonna drop these horizontal lines, kind of make a little bit more sense. But you see, like right here, it comes and it touches this area. Sheesh, I can't even zoom in on this, right? It comes and it touches this area, boom, and goes it back into a cell. Comes and touches it again, boom, and goes back into a cell. Same thing back here. It might not touch the exact line, but that's why you call it a zone. You're not drawing one exact horizontal line. You're more so drawing an area. But you see, it comes right here, goes into a cell again. And let's go back a little bit further. No, facts. I'm on it. Bro, this screen is annoying. I hate. Some people like trading off the computer. Personally, I just trade off my phone. But you just basically look for little areas where, boom, if you drop a horizontal line, like right there. And not every time is it gonna stand as, you know, sometimes it can break through it and retest. You know, that's also a key factor. But you see it hits it here, goes into a cell, hits it here again, goes into a cell. It kind of went from an area of resistance to an area of support right here, but then breaks through again and boom, hits this area and goes into a cell. So those are kind of like the three components that I use when I'm trading. For US30, the first thing I do is I go through and I set up all my zones. I look for all these little areas that I see major reversals at, and I mark those lines. Then the next thing I do is I'm putting Bollinger Bands on my chart. And anytime it breaks outside of those bands, I'm looking to see, you know, is it near my area of support and resistance, you know? And then from there, you know, if it's somewhere near the cloud, I might take that into factor. But, you know, it's not all, price isn't always going to be near the cloud because it's usually either hovering it below it or crossing through it. So that's the only time I really take the cloud into consideration. Definitely one of the keys to being in my group chat is to take profit at will. Like I said, I am not an expert at all. I've been trading for about a year. I definitely am profitable, but you know, I'm definitely still new to sending out signals and things like that. So I try to send out updates. I'll drop a trade and then I'll say, you know, we're up 165 pips, take profit. We're up 300 pips, take profit. And then, you know, usually I'll be like TP hits. But that's when you as a trader, you have to have a trading goal. You have to know, you know, what do I want out of these trades, or how much money do I want to make today, or how many pips do I want to get today? And you have to know when to secure the profit. You know, more than likely, out of all the trades I sent out this past month, they all have hit TP, but I know one is going to hit stop loss. It's just the nature of the game. Nobody's 100%, no matter how good you are. So I know I kind of ran through those topics really quick. You know, is there anything that you guys need more of? Like I said, I can set up the support and resistance call with Tevin and the zone call with Raquel. But as far as the cloud and Bollinger Bands, do you guys want to see like another example or see it again? Because after this, I was just going to I was going to do some of the trades that I sent out. I was going to go back to what I saw at that exact moment when I sent out the trade and kind of break that down to y'all. We got about like 20 minutes left. Another example of Bollinger Bands, please. Okay. You want it on a different pair, a completely different pair?
Could you also, it doesn't matter, do a call like this again?
It's a lot of people talking. Can I do a call on what?
I said if possible, would you be able to do a call like this again?
Yeah, definitely. I can run it back. And this call is recorded. I'm going to drop it on YouTube. Like I said, not that I hate teaching. I love to teach people. I just don't feel like I can effectively teach, if you know what I mean. I feel like Raquel and Tevin are way better teachers than I am. But, you know, everybody wants me to drop keys. So here I am trying to drop keys. But yeah, so Bollinger Bands. Let's move to a more current area, like where we are right now. As you can see, you know, US30 has been dropping off the charts, going outside of the band. This is a prime example of why I say it is not the only method that we're using. It's just one of the confirmations. The more confirmations I get, the more I feel better about a trade. So this is an example of why I'm not going to be like, oh, it went outside of the band, let me look for the buy, because I would have been down here hitting my stop loss. So that's an example of that. But, you know, typically the way the Bollinger Bands flows, and I'll go back to a different area. Okay, this is not the right pair. Let's see. My bad, guys. Hold on. Y'all got the chat jumping, yo. I love the interaction and engagement. Yeah, I don't have that. Where do you see that at, Torian? You can come off mute. I know you're somewhere quiet.
On Trading View, that's the same one that uses our phones on 8 Trader 4. I can send you the link. I don't know if it'll show it.
Yeah, or I could just hop on my phone for real. Or yeah, you could send me the link, I guess. But wait, okay, so I'm gonna explain the bands really quick because it really doesn't matter what pair it is. It's kind of the same feel. You know, you typically when price goes outside of the band, you'll see it come back into at least the middle band, this middle line right here. So price went outside the band, TP would typically be around this middle line. That's still gonna get you a good amount of pips. You know, sometimes it will flow all the way through to the next outer band, and then you see it going out of the line again, boom, pushes back into the band. So to stress this again, every time it goes outside of the band, we are not entering into a trade. We're then following back to, you know, okay, is it near area of support and resistance? And what does that look like? Is it near, you know, the cloud? What does that look like? I'm going to switch to my phone and show y'all the exact order I go in when I trade. I feel like that'll probably help it click a little bit more. But, you know, one of the things I'm looking for is like, you know, is it going outside of the band? Because then I can look for little push-ups back into the band to the middle line. We got about 10 minutes left on this call. So I'm going to address this question, and then I'm going to try to share my screen and at least go through one trade with y'all. So because the spread of US30 is so high, do you recommend starting with a certain amount of money? Great question. You actually can't trade US30 unless you have at least $150. Yeah, nah, facts. You can't trade US30 unless you have $150 in your account. Like, that's the minimum it'll let you trade with a 0.01 lot size. Yes, experts do say don't touch US30 unless you have 1,000 in your account. But honestly, you can make something shake. You know, I grew an account with about $200. You know, Torian is trading right now with an account with like, I think $150 or $200, and she's like making profits off of it. You just have to be prepared that, you know, if you take a L, it's going to be a substantial amount. So like, you know, if something hits stop loss that I send out, you probably are going to lose about like $20 to $40. Not like your typical pairs when you're trading at 0.01, you hit a L, you're probably losing like $2 to $5. So that's why the disclaimer in the chat is, you know, for one, only trade what you're willing to lose. Like, even though you see stuff hitting TP, like I said, I'm not an expert and nothing's 100%. It could very well be that the first time you hop in a trade, you hit stop loss, and then now you're underneath $150 and you can't even trade US30 with me anymore until you build your account back up. So I'm gonna leave that on y'all to, you know, decide what you guys want to do. But I definitely recommend a 0.01 lot size, and, you know, you have to at least have $150. I'm gonna hop on my phone really quick and share my screen and see if I can send out one setup. If the call ends, I'll send out another link. It should be the same link, but I'll send out a link just in case it's not. But hold on, let's see. Stop sharing. We got 7 minutes. Okay, and we're live. All right, so I'm gonna go into the signals chat. And write down one of the trades I sent out. Okay, so we sent out the buy on US30. This is the signal if y'all want to screenshot it. But also this call is being recorded. TP was 2601. This was sent out Wednesday at 10 a.m. Okay. So this is what my chart looks like on US30. As you guys can see, I practice what I preach. I do have all three pairs all three indicators up and running. This yellow line going across is kind of one of the zones that I just kind of left hanging. I did draw some trend lines. You see those diagonal red lines. You can just ignore those for now. I'm gonna try to go back to Wednesday, what was the date of Wednesday? The 27th. So Wednesday the 27th at 10 a.m., we were about here with it. So I'm gonna drop some lines. The TP was 26,018. I'm gonna leave the TP as, that's close enough, whatever. I'm gonna turn that to, that's not even right. Jesus. I'm gonna change the color of that to blue. So TP, we have it on the chart as blue, and that did not turn it to blue. All right, due to sake of time, guys, I'm gonna just keep it moving. The color is irrelevant. The TP is the top line, right? The stop loss we had on it was 25,926. Oh, boom. I had stop loss as my zone or my support of support and resistance line. So the bottom golden line is stop loss. The top golden line is TP. We entered in right about here. Dang, yo, I'm tripping. So what did I see? I saw that not only did it go outside of this bottom band, but it went outside of my my zone, or the stop loss that I had, the stop loss that I ended up setting up. So at that point, I'm like, okay, it broke out of the band, it broke out of my zone. I'm looking for a small buy. Another thing that kind of played a factor into this trade was also, you know, the lag line. I had saw that this candle was pushing up. My bad, guys, I cannot see the chat right now. Yes, if it touches the trend line, I think 3 times, on the 4th time it usually breaks. But I'm gonna confirm that and send it back to you guys. But yeah, it went outside of the Bollinger Band here, the bottom band, this white line. It went outside of my area of support and resistance, so I'm automatically looking for a buy. So I didn't immediately jump in. I probably waited till about right here. And once I saw this lag line on the cloud, that's another part I got to talk about. There's a lag line associated with the cloud. Once I saw the lag line went back into the band, I hopped in for the buy, and then boom, we kind of went straight into TP, which is typically, I wouldn't say a little rare. Like, I mean, usually there's going to be a little bit of pullback with some trades, but this is a really great trade. We ended up securing, what is it, 560 pips from this. So yeah, I know I kind of rushed that last part. Y'all feel free to drop questions. I can definitely run this call back. I feel like it was a little rushed. I can run it back a little bit more structured with a little bit more details. But what out of the process isn't making sense to y'all in this last 2 minutes? So I can kind of drill in on that. Don't all jump at once, because I know y'all are confused.
You said something about the candle breaking out of the lag line, I think.
Yeah, so the lag line is associated with the cloud. And with the lag line, maybe the lag line is what's like 14 candles back. But basically, like, all right, let me take some of this off my screen really quick. We got like 2 minutes, guys, so the call might drop. So I took the Bollinger Bands on my screen, and I just had the cloud. You guys see this green line that's kind of just hovering below the candles? So typically, like how we talked about, you don't want to trade in the cloud, like a time where you would hop in for the sell, this lag line breaks out of it. Huh? Okay. So did everybody catch that? With the lag line, like for instance, if it's coming from a sell trend, it breaks through the cloud, you will wait until the lag line breaks through the bottom line of the cloud to actually hop in for the sell. So even though this candle broke through right here, you will wait until the lag line makes it through to actually hop in. The lag line is staying behind the cloud. And I can send more follow-up on that. I can definitely send you guys some videos that breaks down each topic. I can send videos on the Ichimoku cloud, and then I can send videos on Bollinger Bands, so y'all can really like drill down on that. But that's kind of the process I go through. Step number 1 is like, you know, is price near any of my zones or support and resistance? Step number 2 is, you know, is it breaking outside of the Bollinger Bands on either the top band or the bottom band? And then step 3, which really isn't like something I factor in, but I'm like, you know, I'm mindful of, is price in the middle of the cloud as well? And if all 3 of those are good, then I'm sending out a trade. And I think my computer wants to shut off. Yeah, I have less than a minute left on this call, guys. Feel free to DM me directly on Telegram with any questions. I definitely will send some follow-up information for y'all. And like, yeah, let's run it up this week.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Oh, how do you stop recording?